jump into the panel. So I'm happy to have with me Alex from Enphase and Isabella from SMA. Cool. So the theme of this 20 minutes that we have is how to really smarten solar systems through inverters, battery storage, and digitalization. And we try to span actually from big to small, as you are touching both. So, and what I really want to do is simply talk about the current situation, the general market, discuss once again the specific needs of the customers, dive a little bit into your solutions, and also touch the regulatory environment, which is in the end the all-deciding component for go, no-go, or fast deployment or slow deployment. And so let's talk about maybe when we talk about these smart solutions, and we're talking probably more about mature advanced markets, because that's where the need for that product is. What do you see at the moment? So maybe Isabella, start with you, because you have a sort of complex product actually, and it's somewhat of a more difficult sell. It's software based. I think you of course have also the hardware behind that, and it's part of the package, but you probably do it also without. Can you just see how the market is embracing it at the moment when you approach basically the customer? So what are the questions you're facing? You have to unmute, I believe. Not yet, not yet. Not yet. Alex, can we hear you if you unmute?
Can you hear me all right?
Mm-hmm.
No?
Yeah, now it's coming.
Yeah, you can hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Sorry, I don't know. Okay, so we talked with a lot of people, especially with investors, IPPs, asset owners. What we see, you have two types of customers. The one who came from a renewable generator side, so basically having wind farms, PV assets developed. It is, compared to what is happening now, relatively straightforward, because you have your PV asset, large PV asset. Yeah, you have to secure the grid connection and then you have to maintain it. But under these feed-in regimes and pay-as-produced PPAs, it was pretty simple. A PV asset or wind asset is generating, you get your money, that's it. So it's very high level spoken. Now, a lot of them see, okay, we get in trouble. So business cases, the feed-in tariffs are phased out. PPA, pay as produced, we see these curtailment issues, we have negative price hours. So something is changing, and we cannot have no option to came over this, because our assets are still producing like the sun is shining, the wind is blowing. So they are now thinking strategically, also introducing new teams for how to add battery storage systems into their portfolio as standalone, but also as hybrid. Also thinking about, can we add storage to existing assets? What is the best way to do? And then on the other hand, you have the storage guys and girls, I would say, which have already these standalone assets, which had pretty good revenue streams regarding providing grid services like primary frequency control, etc. But if we have a look into Germany, for example, these are all markets which get saturated, because the grid needs a certain amount of frequency response, a certain amount of inertia. So there is a very high competitive if more batteries are pushing into these markets. And especially newer assets have a competitive advantage. So they also think about, what is the strategy on that? Can we add production capacity to this asset? So we have a lot of having a look which is the best strategy, how they can establish a portfolio which is dealing with those flexibilities, but still some of them are still in the early stage. Also searching for education, understanding energy markets, how it's functioning. And what we also see is even in the value chain of the energy market, there's a change, because all these marketing and selling of and purchasing of energy was in the hands of huge utilities and trading houses. And now you have each renewable asset with a flexibility can do it on its own. So you also see there are new solutions like having only market access partner, and that you are itself in responsibility to do the decision on how much you would like to sell to the market. So now, in my opinion, there's a new era and everything is changing a little bit, and the whole value chain, and it's getting more differentiated and more opportunities. So there is also potential for new solutions which support all of these stakeholders in doing it, and doing especially profitable business over long term. Yeah,
But
this
is
is
it
so.
still on the stage where the companies are trying to understand, and or is it rather that they already execute and say, okay, it's so urgent and we have to make it happen and change things?
I would say there are some which are already executing, have the first assets up and running, make their experience, and other ones are quite in an early phase, figuring it out, having business development, searching also the market for solutions. So it's a wide range, and I would say it really depends. And I think this is also the part of how the regulation is adapting. So in the UK, the market is very mature. They are dealing with these different energy market products for a couple of years. It's already more familiar compared to other markets where we are now starting to figure out what is the energy market design which is suitable for our grid setup, etc. So wide range, but we experience an increasing demand of understanding all those, and also demystifying this revenue stacking and what does it mean and how to really executing. And in the whole lifetime of the asset, there are different stages, and you have to think about also in financing purposes. This is hybrid assets, and these new way to operate such assets is also not familiar to banks, investors. Yeah, there's a more uncertainty if you don't have these feed-in tariffs, if you go more merchant with price risks. So the whole industry is now figuring it out. What does it mean, step by step? So I think we are in this phase of early adaptation. First ones which said, hey, we see the chance, we go into it, we try it out, we do it, and other ones which are now have a look into it and follow, I would say.
Okay, cool. Thanks. Alex, if we look at the distributed side of things, how are you seeing that there? Because of course, everyone is also talking about full solutions. You were showing this wonderful house with all these possibilities you can do, EV, wall box, whatever you need, heat pump, everything. We see electrification in Europe, unfortunately, somewhat stagnating, and we have to move things. But how do you see, actually, especially you have also somewhat high quality, really high quality product. So those guys who would go for the cheapest solutions would not come to you. And so how are you seeing this market at the moment evolving?
Very good question, and let me start it. I want to subscribe to everything that Isabella said. It becomes just even more a little bit complex, I would say, to advance those revenue stacking opportunities for the residential sector. I mean, one word of caution here. Let's talk about a little bit the smart meter rollout disaster that is happening in Germany. I mean, how do you want to offer flexibility services to the grid or to the system if you don't have a smart meter? And even if you have a smart meter, if the communication only allows for intervals of 15 minutes and not on a second-to-second basis. So those are the difficulties that we see in markets like Germany, but there are other more advanced ones. I mean, let's talk about the Netherlands. It's a more advanced market. It allows you to do much more. It allows you to give value propositions to the customer to actually efficiently use their assets. We talk about simple grid services or imbalance trading, those kind of things, and you really need to have a very strong software on top of your very smart hardware to really do that. You need, unfortunately, develop with each of the energy providers. You have to develop APIs to communicate efficiently, to offer them to aggregate and to use your services. But we see those kind of things emerging. But as you said, there are challenges. The grid is not where it should be, neither physically nor digitally. So I think this is really key. And what we need here, in addition to more investments at the DSO level, at the distribution level system, is a better communication. Because as Isabella said, there are a lot of new actors in the market, in addition to the huge energy providers, in addition to the distribution system operators, and there needs to be a better communication. Sometimes when we talk to established players, we see that not everybody is fully aware of what is technically possible, technologically possible. So I think there needs to be a much better stakeholder communication to find win-win solutions where basically everyone is profiting from each other. And I think it's possible. Like, it's not just an empty phrase, win-win solutions. I think with the technology that is out there, there can be truly opportunities to generate revenues for all relevant parties. And
do the customers actually understand also the needs? If you look into a more advanced markets, okay, so in Germany, where I live, actually we have dynamic tariffs as of next year. Everyone has to offer that on the one hand. On the other hand, the smart meters are missing. So there are all these challenges. But if you look into a more advanced market, like the Netherlands, I think in Belgium, you have also dynamic tariffs. So how are the customers? Do you still have to educate them now? Okay,
yes.
In the Netherlands, it was so simple about net metering. So you put your solar system on the roof. It was super easy, and it was clear what you would get out of that. That was not even, you didn't even have to think about self-consumption rates or anything like this. So that was the easiest way to do it, like in the US. And so how are you educating the customers, or what are the questions you're getting?
Great questions, and really great questions, and to the point. That is the challenge that we see. By the way, like a short comment regarding the importance of regulation. You talked about now we will be seeing dynamic tariffs, etc., etc. I mean, dynamic tariffs are the result of the last revision. I'm not talking about the revision of 2024, of the last revision of the electricity market design. So we see the things that are decided at the European level, they slowly but surely trigger down to the actually real world. And that's why it's so important. But that just as a side note. And you're spot on. So it becomes really more challenging to educate the customer on the advantages of using their asset to the fullest extent possible. Using your battery to participate in imbalance trading, etc., etc., might be quite difficult to explain. So what you need to do is to give them options and to basically explain them, okay, that's the value proposition. And if you allow the asset to go for option A, B, C, D, then the payback scenario of your investment is coming down by 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 5 years, 10 years. And I think that's the way of how to basically make the investment proposition to the customers, is saying, when you allow the participation of your battery in market A, B, C, D, those are the results in terms of payback for your investment. And I think that's the way of how we try to do, going into the details of really high frequency or voltage services to the grid or imbalance trading. I mean, there are some nerds out there that are really into it, but I would say that's not the majority of the customers. So you need to have a very different approach. You're correct.
But will you, just one follow-up question, Alex. So will Enphase then also turn into an aggregator actually? So bring, and actually, because that would be the easiest solution for me as a customer, so that I not only have to buy the product, but actually that I already have the solution provider who gives me the full solution, right?
You're putting me a little bit on the spot here, Michael. That's a very that's a very strategic question that I can promise you that is considered, of course. But I mean, just if you become an aggregator, you become a really important market, a party to the market with additional regulations and etc. So it is fully considered, and let's see where the market is going. It is definitely an option that needs to be studied carefully. You're asking all the right questions.
Thank you. Isabella, because SMA has done it. So I think you're part of SMA, but still you have a different brand, you're Camopo, and so they are moving in that direction. So how is the strategy of SMA for exploring this important field, which is simply the future of solar for any market at some point of maturity?
Yeah. So before I answer this question, I just want to fully agree to Alexander. And the funny part is we are dealing with large scale customers, so B2B customers. Yeah, and still here we are doing this education part together by simulating different options, how to marketing the asset, or even finding the right dimensioning and seeing what are the influencing factors on business cases, etc. So we are also on the same page. It's even for those, I would say more in the professional surrounding B2B, it is showing the customer what exactly is the result and what is the financial benefit. And the technical part is the other one, but first step is, okay, does this investment make sense? And this is where we are contributing to. And I think this is also the story why is SMA doing this? What we see is at the end, as I said, the endpoint is still you have to translate it into physics and bring it to the grid in the grid conform way. And the inverter is contributing there. So it's bringing both worlds together. But what we see during the years, and this is why SMA is also looking into these parts, that the usage of our solutions in different assets is changing, and that our customers need advanced cases, use cases, flexibilities to run their business. And we believe that when we develop or bring us into a solution provider, that we have to also understand business cases of our customers in order to provide the whole change and support them by not only building those assets, but also operate them during a long lifetime. And this is where SMA said, hey, we are very knowledgeable and experienced and figuring everything out, how to bring the electrons to the grid, doing grid forming, doing advanced and complex topics. And there's so much in these assets. Now let's help our customers by adding advanced software solution. And it's not only Camopo, it's also monitoring solutions, analytic solutions, by using our technology to the fullest and unlock the flexibility. And this is why we go this way, but still say customer is free to decide how much of the SMA solution he wants to use. It's an offering, and I think it's going hand in hand, bringing a very good solution together, but still he can decide what is best for his business to use from our side. And as we said, it's also helping us in order to develop the best fitting products by understanding how they will be used over long-term time period in different markets.
Okay, I think I want to finish in time. So maybe address, Alex, because that's where you're coming from, also the regulatory environment. And I think since you're sitting in Brussels and are close to the heart of where things happening. So what are you seeing in terms of inverters and this whole smartness of the system? Especially we talked for, I think maybe you can talk for Europe. There are a lot of things at the moment being discussed. It's not about the models, the business models on the one side. So that's more about market design, but it's also about energy safety. We're talking about also cybersecurity, because solar has become a key strategic and important part of the grid and electricity production, energy production. I think that's the case now for more and more countries. So what are policymakers at the moment looking at, and what are the key files that are being discussed? So we're focusing now in Europe, but I think in other countries, there are similar discussions going on that have a similar maturity of the solar market.
Happy to, and to make it brief, but Europe is really leading the way in a lot of fields that you just mentioned. So what files are we talking about when we talk about business models and flexibility? I mean, there's a clear answer. Currently, there is the development of the network code for demand response, which will be crucial, absolutely crucial, to enable all the things, or to support all the things that we just talked about. It is really about what is the role of distributed assets in the energy system and how can they participate in different markets. It is really crucial. We are hopeful that the text is progressive and that it will really help us, and will also help to unify the market for those kind of services within Europe. Because we always talk about the single market, but let's be real here. When we talk about the European Union and solar and maybe energy, it's still very fragmented in a lot of fields. So we hope of a very progressive network code for demand response, and we hope that it will be implemented in a quite uniform manner. So everybody should be focusing on those developments. When it comes to cyber, it's so important. It will become even more important in the future, and Europe is really leading the way here. I mean, this year, the Cyber Resilience Act was just adopted. It will basically install a baseline of cybersecurity for technical products. We are pushing actively with Solar Power Europe, you know that better than anybody, to increase those levels even more, because we think assets like inverters are so crucial to the future energy system that we need to increase those kind of security features even more. If you want to be very technical, the European Commission, through the CRA, through the Cyber Resilience Act, basically gave the standardization request to Senelec to basically come up with the technical requirements that certain products will need to fulfill. It depends on what exactly, but the time frame is by 2026, 2027, and those will be mandatory. And I mean, we can also talk on more on the system level. Also quite progressive legislation here. Now member states need to implement what is called the NIS2 directive. That's basically just saying that critical infrastructure in Europe needs to be more cyber secure. And there are a lot of things that member states can do in the future to actually do that and to implement it. And yeah, we are following those developments quite closely, and it's really interesting from a policy perspective what Europe is doing there. It's going into the right direction, definitely.
Okay, and so maybe to both of you, and finally, also as a final statement. So what do you think needs to be done most? We see the solar market somewhat stagnating this year in Europe. I think worldwide it's different, but I think in more mature markets you're facing, of course, challenges with flexibility, with the energy crisis is over, so prices have sort of normalized, and so I think the need for customers is not so strong anymore to go solar or to renewables, or at least urgent. But so what needs to be done most urgent from both of your views on the regulatory level to really enable this smartness, this electrification of our energy system that we really need, because that brings us also to decarbonization, which is in the end the goal. Maybe Isabella?
Should I go first? As I said, so no, there is no answer to each system, and I think each region, country has different challenges. But I think what we really need is more stability in the regulation. So, and also sticking to time plans, because what we see often, customers are curious and want to go, and then there's still regulation not clear regarding solar or battery storages, and then they withdraw and step back. So having this stability, because this is also supporting these financing issues. This is often we see, okay, we have enough customers which wants to invest in renewable energies, which are facing problems by financing, limited grid capacities, or the missing or not very clear regulation why they decide not to go for it. And I think here we can work together, and I totally subscribe the topic about communication and having this also, and this is, I think, also something we can contribute to, showing what is on a technology base possible, do this education, sit together and figure out what we can do, and having a good regulation on site. Yeah, I think this is the statement I would say.
Thanks, Isabella. Alexander?
I mean, you mentioned net energy metering in the Netherlands. It's important that it is phased out. Don't get me wrong, but the uncertainty that was introduced by the policymakers over the last couple of years, and it is still not exactly clear. I mean, now they come to the conclusion, okay, it shall be phased out by 2027. But what exactly is it that comes afterwards? Like, what does the system look like afterwards? Like, if you want to kill a business case, introduce uncertainty. If you cannot start the calculation of a business model, then you're basically your hands are tied behind your back. So that's certainty about the energy market model and the remuneration that we can expect in the future. That's really key. I will not start bashing again about the smart meter rollout in Germany, but I mean, that's a very, very easy policy thing to do, you would assume, in a country that is very, very much in favor of renewables, etc. So we hope and we wish all the best luck to the new government that we will see in the next year to really start on that one. And
Okay.
then finally really enable the revenue stacking. It's really key. If you make it hard to do that, the future business cases for solar will be difficult, and that's why it is paramount.
Okay, thanks. Nice final words. Still some obstacles on the way to the truly smart world. I think we've seen here at the event companies with the right solution on the hardware and on the software side. So unfortunately, like always, it's important to have then also the policy framework conditions. That's why it is also important that everywhere where you are around, please support your local and regional lobby associations, if I might say so. Okay, then let me just finalize, say thank you. Thanks to the sponsors, Jinko and Hopewind. Thanks to the participants, on the attendees, the speakers, the panelists, also the team of TaiyangNews who got that together. Just a few announcements. We do have a new report out. Like all our reports, you can download them for free. This is basically all the new module products, not all, but an overview of module products that were on display at all the big recent shows in Asia, Europe, and America. We just have compiled them. You can just download that. It's available on our website as of today. We have several more reports you can download. You can see that as well. Next slide, please. Oops. Yeah, here you are. I think recently we published one on trackers. There are a couple of other reports. Just two more events I wanted to announce. Tomorrow, my colleague Min Ge is in China at the 12th Bi-Fi workshop, which takes place in Zhuhai, where also the headquarters of Aiko Solar is. They have also an online version. Please feel free to join. If you're not there, try it online. If you're in need of tickets, we have a few free online tickets. Just get in touch with us. You just write a note, maybe to to me, michael.schmela@taiyangnews.info, and then we make sure that we distribute the contingent. We have around 20 tickets, and it's just on a first come, first served basis. So if you're interested in participating in the online way, just get in touch with me. And finally, we have our next event, an online event, which is taking place in June, in December, actually. It's a 4-day event, and this is our flagship conference where we will look into all the different cell module technologies, from TOPCon, heterojunction, back contact, and also tandem technology. We will devote single days to the different technologies and sum up basically all the developments that happened over the last year. Once again, thank you to everyone. Have a nice afternoon or evening, and see you soon again. Thanks. Bye-bye.